this video, I will be discussing coal mining, particularly mountaintop mining, including my first impressions of coal mining in general, a brief summary of the data I learned through research of the mountaintop removal methods, and will conclude with a short explanation of my connection to this particular practice. My first impressions of coal mining weren't very informative. As you can see in the word cloud to the left there, the largest words were associated with a theatrical movie that took place in a coal mining town. This movie, which some of you may have actually seen, is called October Sky, and it gives the impression that coal mining towns are small and often uneducated. Through short news sound bites, it also developed an idea of coal mining as a controversial but intricate practice. These clips barely touched the surface of the issue, but showed both positive and negative sides of coal mining. I also had heard stories from a former coworker who'd grown up in a big coal mining town known as Butte, Montana. This coworker talked about the social pressures on young people to stay in the town to help their families' unstable economic situations. After researching mountaintop mining, my impressions of the issues became more detailed, as you can see in the updated word cloud, which is more dense and includes more words associated with the 3 pillars of sustainability that we learned about in class. Through the Appalachian Voices website and academic studies that I researched, I learned that mountaintop removal is detrimental to all 3 of these sustainability pillars. The industry not only pays low wages to its workers, but actually decreases their financial stability, as housing values often plummet in these areas. This is not good for the economic pillar of sustainability, also reflected in my coworkers' stories of social pressures for financial help. I also learned that mountaintop removal negatively impacts the social pillar through community health issues and has high correlations with diseases such as lung cancers, cardiovascular disease, and even results in death. Practices which often focus on efficiency over safety have been known to kill people, as irresponsible deforestation in the clearing phase of mountaintop removal can lead to flash flooding. Falling debris is also an immediate safety concern. However, long-term issues arise as well, especially concerning the environmental pillar. According to studies, mountaintop removal not only destroys native flora and fauna in the present, but also reduces the area's ability to support such life once sites are restored. Restoration is part of the process of coal mining, and I learned that this restoration is actually mandated by laws. However, many companies often receive waivers that enable them to not participate in this practice. Water ecosystems suffer as well, and loss of species have been found to occur at rates up to 100% in some cases as a result of pollution and irresponsible waste removal. Having learned the negative effects of mountaintop removal, I wanted to see what my connection to the practice was. As I recently located to the island of Guam, energy sourcing options are few and far between. And considering the island's reliance on environmental sustainability for both economic and social stability through ecotourism, I was especially interested to learn that the main energy provider, Guam Power Authority, or GPA, is actually connected to 431 coal plants in the mainland, 159 of which are directly connected to mountaintop removal. Here's a map of the sites in which my energy provider is connected to through its grid. And these connections are hard for the average consumer to come by. It's actually not even recognized on the EIA's map of Guam, which is shown here to the right. And the EIA website even states that Guam doesn't even consume coal at all. This site also doesn't, as I said before, this site doesn't appear to have updated information on the power plants in the island, as their map doesn't even show the oil burning sites located here, such as this one. As we've seen in previous lectures, responsibility for sustainability for sustainable consumption is distributed through various scales. According to internet news sites, Guam's government, such as the site listed here in the references as Power Engineering, Guam's government has stepped up through stricter enforcement of regulations and hefty fines that are forcing GPA to invest in better practices as the construction of natural gas plants. However, it's clear to me that the company should have better transparency through letters or notification on electric bills, and residents must demand better transparency practices as well. Because this is true of any location, I would urge consumers to become informed of the practices that they're connected with, as well as the actions they can take to promote practices more in line with their morals and sustainability views. This concludes my brief presentation on my impressions of and connections to mountaintop mining. I hope you have enjoyed my presentation, and I thank you for listening.